Hi everybody, this is Roxy, and I wanted to show you my spread that I did for Brigitte, ShoePrincess1, for her Travelogue for YPP. Excuse me. Her theme is Paris, and so I wanted to do a spread about my aunts, my great aunts, who one of them learned or took organ lessons from Dr. Albert Schweitzer, who he won the Nobel Peace Prize in 1952, but my great aunts went there in 1911. A younger one, Elvina, is the one who took lessons from him. He was at the time raising money to build the first Western hospital in Africa. And so he was giving organ lessons to proteges so that he could raise money to do that. But at the same time, he was getting his doctorate degree. He already had a theologian degree, and he was a philosopher and a gifted musician. He was he wrote the biography of Bach, a 2-volume biography, and I mean he was a genius. But anyways, she had the opportunity to go to Paris and take lessons from him, which was kind of a big deal. My mom always used to tell us, my aunt Elvina took lessons from Dr. Schweitzer, and we're like, yeah, because we didn't know who Schweitzer was. We just thought of him as this wild-haired, gray-haired old man. But about 5 years ago, my sisters and I, digging through a box of photographs, found some postcards, French postcards, and on the back was the journaling of our great aunt Eulalie. My grandma, her name was Isabel. She was from a family of 9, and she had 3 sisters. Eulalie was the oldest, and then Elvina and Eugenie was the youngest, and my grandma was the very youngest of the girls. Excuse me. So we took the postcards and typed them all up, her journaling. Excuse me. And my sisters made this, kind of just put it together in a 3-ring binder. That's the ship that Eulalie sailed to Europe on. So, excuse me again. Anyways, I was deciphering all the postcards, typing them up. And then well, here, I'll just read one passage that she wrote, because she has a lot of humor in here. It's really fun. A lot of it wasn't the easiest trip to take. I'm sure it was in 1911. They had steamer trunks to drag around. It was, they don't have the comforts that we do. But anyways, this is after meeting up with Elvina. Elvina was there in Paris with Schweitzer, and then Eulalie went a few months later and met her to kind of chaperone the rest of the trip. So here's one note. This is July 26, 1911. Dr. Schweitzer just arrived to give Elvina her lesson. After a very short lesson, he invited us over to St. Thomas Church. Before leaving, I took pictures of Elvina and him at the organ, and also him alone at the organ. Elvina and I both played on the St. Thomas organ with its black natural keys and vice versa. The organ was built in 1740. It was a beautiful tone, 3 manuals, and the choir organ is separate in back of the player. The front of the organ is beautiful and graceful. Dr. S. invited us to his house for lunch, which is exceedingly informal. First course, boiled eggs. Second course, macaroni. Third course, cold roast beef. Fourth course, red currants and rye bread. Spring mineral water, no butter, no tea or coffee. It was great. So that's one of her entries about Schweitzer. And after I read all the posts or the journaling, I thought, well, I want to read more about Schweitzer. So I went to the library and got some biographies about him, and this was one of them, and there was another one about, I can't remember who that was by, but this is the biography and a pictorial that a woman did of him after he was in Africa. And this is the Schweitzer that we remember seeing, you know, as kids or whatever. Anyways, I'm going through these books and came across this photo. And I thought, my gosh, that really looks familiar. And it's, you know, a picture of him. What does it say? Oh yeah. The organist is seated at the Reformed Church of St. Stephen in Mulhouse. But that's not correct, because this is actually the photo that our Aunt Eulalie took of Schweitzer. And I called the Schweitzer Museum in Strasbourg, I think it was in Alsace, and they didn't know the origins of this photo. But we actually have the original of the photo that she took of Elvina and Schweitzer. And so she must have given this original photo to Schweitzer, because she does talk about her Kodak and going to the Kodak store and getting all the photos developed. So I actually have the original. Well, I don't have the original. I copied it from our original. But that's the photo of Schweitzer and our aunt. And just to show you that I'm not crazy, but I about fell out of my chair when I saw this, because it was like, you know, it's the same photo. It's the same, you know, it's obviously the same one. So anyways, that's my aunt's photo that she just talked about in her journal that I just read. So this is, this is my spread for Brigitte, and here's her cover. Very pretty. So I just took some Jette d'Or paper from Making Memories, and I stamped, I have some new Stamper's Best stamps that I'll show later, but it has a camera, and Eulalie talks about her camera a lot because it was so new and so exciting to have. But I just stamped, you know, like a shoe from some, I've got the Graphic 45 Hampton Arts stamps. I just kind of collaged this up a little bit, did a Tim Holtz postcard stamp. So here's my pages. I used some of those vintage paper bags for background, and these are May Arts ribbons. Very pretty. And there goes my phone, as usual. Okay, so I made a little postcard. Brigitte actually sent me some postcards from that postcard die, and I finally found the die. And she sent me all chipboard cuts. So this is one of the, you know, the postcard that she sent, and then I just put a note on here. I stamped it up with, excuse me, these are 7 Gypsy stamps. And then this is a picture of my grandma and her aunts. That's my grandma Isabel. This is Eulalie, Eugenie, and Elvina. And then this is just some 7 Gypsies tape with recollections. I love these little flowers. And then some vintage pearl beads from a necklace of my grandma's. It was broke, so it's okay to use. So then I made this little, you know, like these, they have these old-fashioned little postcard things that you could get of a city or an area or whatever. And so I tried to duplicate that. I made, you know, I embossed it with the Tim Holtz embossing and tried to get Paris there. And then I just added a brad to close it. And then this opens up to show copies of my aunt's postcards. And these are all the postcards she wrote on the back. And here's just a copy of some of her writing that this is what we had to decipher. It was hard. And here is Notre Dame. She talks about visiting Notre Dame and playing on the organ. This is actually the Ferris wheel was built and introduced at the 1893 Chicago World's Fair. And they built this, they wanted to outdo Paris, because in 1889, I think it was, Paris had the World's Fair, and they built the Eiffel Tower. So this is in Paris, but the first Ferris wheel was in Chicago, and it was a kind of an answer to trying to outdo the Eiffel Tower. So I don't know if it's as pretty as the Eiffel Tower, but it's really wild to read about the Ferris wheel. These cars were actually train cars. They were the size of a train car. It took 20 minutes, I think it was 20 minutes or an hour for one revolution. There's a really good book. It's about a serial killer, but it's scary, but it's called Devil in the White City, that talks about the World's Fair in Chicago, the whole Ferris wheel and stuff. But anyways, I digress as usual. Okay, so this is a menu from her, from the ship, the Laurentic, that she took over to Paris, that Eulalie took. And a nice little trivia about the Laurentic is it's a sister ship of the Titanic. And when the Titanic went down, they sent the Laurentic out to try to find survivors. Unfortunately, she came home without any survivors. So, and then this ship was sunk by a U-boat during World War I, and 350 people died. So that's that little history. But here's a really cool photo of sightseers in Paris. So that's just that little thing. And then here's again the photo of Eulalie, or Elvina and Schweitzer, and that can tuck back here. Here's a picture of Eulalie outside an arch, which is the Arch de Triomphe, but it kind of wasn't a big deal, I guess, because she was, or I don't know what the deal is, because she kind of was like, oh, this arch, it's not that big of a deal. I don't know why everybody makes a big deal. So, and then here is a flower that I made with some May Arts silk. And, and again, this is all May Arts ribbons. Here is, again, my grandma Isabel, Elvina, and Eulalie. And then I just alcohol inked up some Prima Bling, and here's a Prima flower. And then with my Cricut, I made a little fleur-de-lis pocket, and inside is, whoopsie, sorry if I'm jiggling. Inside is a story of pretty much what I just told you about their trip. It was an article I wrote for a national magazine that does genealogy, and I can't send the original article because I excerpted my original article and kind of just boiled it down for Brigitte. So then Brigitte made all these little cute tags, and she said we could either use them or keep them. I want to keep it. It's so cute. But I made this tag for her. It doesn't fit in here because I kind of went overboard with the thickness. But Brigitte can do whatever she wants with this. This paper is from the Brenda Walton Flora and Fauna. Really pretty. And then I used just a Recollection brown flower, and then some fiber and some more May Arts ribbon. And this is the Eiffel Tower from Sizzix, and I covered it with this paper. Oh, this paper is from the Mariposa. And then this is another necklace of my grandma's. It was a choker. It was a thick choker, about this thick, of all rhinestones, and it too broke, so I'm just using it for trim. So I kind of just wanted to mimic the light show that they have on the tower now. And then I put this little tag in there. And here's some more May Arts trim and rhinestone. And then this is my grandma Isabel again. So pretty. And it's really fun to read the journaling because she talks about going to the store and buying shirt waists and leather gloves and what they ate and where they, all the touring they did and the people they met. It's just a fabulous, fabulous journal that our great aunt kept. And, of course, we didn't ask our mom much details, and she passed away in 1982. So it was such just a beautiful find that we were able to find these photos, and Eulalie left all this information for us to enjoy. So I hope you enjoy it too, Bridget. I really had a lot of fun making it for you. You're one of my favorites. I love everything that you do. You do such a beautiful job with your work, and this was just an honor to do this for you. So thanks everybody, and I hope I didn't shake too much. Bye.